Hi everyone, it is day 4 of the countdown, and if you're just tuning in, I just starting to follow now the countdown. Every day I'm going to be bringing you along on the journey. I'm going to be documenting it this time because 7, 8 years ago I did not do so. I had a BlackBerry Pearl and then a BlackBerry Bold, and if had I done it, it would have been a very awful pixelated video. So this time around I am offering the journey to all of you, and each day I'm going to bring you along, but also offer up, things that pop up in my small business mind, memories, things that, I might be going through something, packing something up, and an idea or a thought or something that I believe would be valuable to you. I'm going to be sharing that with you. So today on the drive-in, I remembered that I wanted to bring my surround sound to the new location. I hadn't even thought of it. I don't know why, it just dawned on me. I have wonderful speakers. We got a great system. We had a great guy, Andrew Deek, set us up when we first got started here. So Andrew, I believe it's phones something. Oh, I'll find the link and I will offer it somehow, shape or form. In some way, shape or form, I will offer that to you. But he set us up. So I thought, you know what? It would be a great opportunity to go through just the basic startup costs of opening a boutique location, opening a studio salon location, depending what you're opening. Once you start needing things like sinks, once you start needing chairs, mirrors, and then of course the administrative, and of course client comfort, once you start adding all those things up, it gets a little bit costly. So it's not as simple as just say putting in a chair and a mirror. If you don't have the plumbing hookup, if you don't have the proper pressure or the proper hot water tank, are you going to be able to grow? Maybe just starting with just one employee or just for you yourself as a solopreneur, maybe it would be fine. But these are things to consider. So when you're getting into your location as well, it would be important to see what's already there. What are the amps? What kind of power supply do you have? What kind of hot water tank do you have? How is it reset? Is it something you need to have the landlord or hopefully if you own the location even better, but is it something you'll have to get permission to be able to access? Or like us, what we did is we connected it to our electrical outlet, or oh my goodness, what's it called? The electrical panel. Oh my God. My God. You'd think I've never done renovations in my life. The electrical panel. We can just reset it right there. So it was really efficient for us to have in our leased location to have access right away, just reset the hot water tank if need be, right within our own leased space. So what we did, we negotiated opening orders. If you are getting into, let's say, a makeup studio or a hair studio, a hair salon, you're providing services, you're going to need products for those services. So what products are you going to use? What's your price point? For us, it was a non-negotiable. I had been in an industry that provided hair services and whatnot for a number of years. And if I wasn't in hair, I was doing makeup and vice versa, or not doing hair, but working with people in hair, and sometimes assisting if I needed to, but also makeup. You end up getting your hands in on products and experiencing the quality. And then when the services are being performed on yourself, you get to feel and see, what really works and what truly works and what's worth the money and what maybe just has a high ticket price, but the value and the quality really isn't there. So for me, there was a non-negotiable. It had to be Goldwell. I really believed in the product, and I had been through kind of like this debate process and this convincing of getting Goldwell in. So I was right in on that, and I was like, okay, this product's amazing. So it was a higher price point, but it was worth it, and I knew I could stand by the product, and I knew I could offer something to our clients, and something I truly believed in, because otherwise I had no vested interest in the hair component that I was including in the business, other than being able to say, no, like, I know this works. This is what I've seen firsthand. So I really had to be able to believe in it. And that's why I said, for me, like, if we're going to do this, it has to be Goldwell. There's no negotiating. Now, I could have gone cheaper. I could have used products that a lot of students are comfortable with, a little lower price points, that all the schools use, and it would have been easier to hire people coming right out of school with experience using the product line that we use, but that wasn't what I was interested in. I was really interested in quality. So opening order, you're looking at about $10,000, but with a $10,000 order, often suppliers will work with you and get you things that you need to get started. So you'll need bowls, foils, towels, capes, these little incidentals that you might not think a lot of, but if you, for example, go onto Amazon, which we didn't have Amazon Prime when I started, or we did have Amazon because I ordered my university textbooks a long time ago on Amazon, but it wasn't they didn't have the selection that they have now. So you can easily fill up a cart and spend $200-300 easily on those little incidentals. So having a rep give you like, I don't even know, like $1,500 worth of things because you've done an opening order with them. And then they also honor and give points, and then you can use points to, purchase things in the future. That's all really helpful and great on your budget when you're starting off. And it makes, at least you're putting that $10,000 investment into something, but you're getting a little bit of help along the way. So you could, really perform and provide services the next day once you receive the order, so to speak. Chairs, I wasn't willing to negotiate on the quality of chairs either. So we ordered from a manufacturer directly from the States, and our chairs were $399 US each, plus we had to pay shipping. So those are about $540 plus shipping, all the shipping costs associated, or the pickup costs associated, and the import-export fees and all that kind of stuff too. You could start with one chair if it was just you, or maybe one other chair for your employee or your business partner, if you're both in the same industry. Same as a makeup chair. It's good to have the hydraulics and the headrest and whatnot. So again, $399. I would estimate, I would say anywhere from $500 to $600 for a decent chair. Not the best by any means, but a decent chair. So makeup or hair. You could start with one or two. The only thing I would recommend is making sure that you are purchasing from a supplier that's been around for a while and has a really good reputation, because when you grow, you're being conservative when you're starting, but when you grow, you can buy furniture as needed. We started with 4. Our plan was to get makeup chairs and get beds and get other stuff in, but we would get that as needed. So we started with 4. At the time too, we weren't sure who was coming along, and we had about 6 pending people. But then by the time I got open, I could only afford to hire 1 full-time, 1 part-time. So we just were like, I hope no one messages us because I'm not hiring anymore until we can, get going. So yeah, be conservative when you're first starting. Just make sure that if you need to and cash flow's moving well, then, like a month and getting a little bit of money in, replenishing that cash flow, and then being able to purchase again, that helps you. It keeps things smooth rather than just taking on a bunch of debt in the beginning and then waiting for the money to start coming in. Space yourself out. So I've already talked about cash flow. I've highlighted cash flow in the podcast, Confessions of a Shop Owner. So if you want to understand more about cash flow and why I covet my cash flow, that's why. It's learning these things. I'm pretty proud of myself though, because we were conservative. Me and my business partner, the one who I was opening the location with, who worked with me, is also very conservative, and we were both big budgeters. And in fact, people around us in business that spend a lot of money make us both very anxious. So we both kind of innately had this like internal cash flow without even knowing what to call it at the time. So yes, things like your sinks. Again, I wanted a clean, functional sink. I wanted something a little more modern. For me, I'm always thinking too, what's more chic, what's more classy. And you have to work with your budget, but a stylist bent over washing someone's hair forward, so I don't know if you can see me, but like if someone's head's here and I'm washing over them, washing their hair, if you're a female, like please wear a turtleneck, but you're over them, rubbing and massaging their head. I don't know. Maybe if it's a barbershop and you're a girl working, I don't know if guys like it. I don't know. But I consider those things. Also on top of that, like your, armpits, like we like to keep more of a fun environment and have more freedom in what we wear at my location, for example. But there would be no option for even like a French cap sleeve if you're washing over someone's head. They're looking directly at your armpit. So I went with the porcelain bowls and where you stand behind. And also it was nicer for the client because they can truly relax. They can kind of just, close their eyes, and it's a very peaceful moment for them, especially when you get into scalp massages and that kind of stuff. So it's something to consider. It's not the end of the world because the price is like astronomical, the difference between the two. You can get a sink that you can install into a wall, and often plumbing's coming out of the wall, right? So plumbing costs, like you can't just think about what furniture you want. You have to also think about how it functions and what, services you'll have to be paying for. Oh, someone's coming in. Services you have to be paying for to install it, and what floor plan that will look like. I'm going to get back to you on that. I have to service my client. Oh, tune in soon. Hey everyone, I just decided to continue this when I got home. I snuck into my husband's office because it's late and he's starting to wind down right now. So I thought, okay, I'll sneak into the office and I'll finish. I kept trying to continue the video, but I was interrupted. And then I do weird things where I feel like a total dork filming. So I kind of like start whispering and trying to move the camera away. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to give up and go home. Here I am. Hello. So I left off with sinks. Our sinks are about 1,100 US. In Canadian dollars, you're looking at over $1,500 to give you an idea with the exchange. You got to add about right now about 30% to everything. But then you also have to consider shipping. So in Canada, the comparable sink was about 2,000 and up. When we were looking at Canadian sites, and the shipping was ridiculous. It was like $200, $300, sometimes more for shipping alone. The States tends to offer free shipping. So that was one thing to consider when you are shipping from the States or within the States. If you can get just a connect point, that's going to save you a lot of money. So look up connect points, kind of on, I guess we're close to the US border. It depends. It depends what's worth it for you. Sometimes it's worth just paying the shipping fees, but it was worth it for us to drive the 40 minutes, get the trucks. We had to get like a full-on moving truck and just pick up our equipment because US shipped for free. So as long as it was a US address, everything came there for free. So we did everything at once, had it at the connect point. And at the time, again, dating ourselves, me and Amy were able to go pick up all of our stuff, and I think we had it there for about 6 weeks because we had to keep ordering and just shipping to the connect point, and they held everything for us for $5 US. And then we were in a jam because we didn't realize how big the boxes were, so you really had to play Tetris to get everything into this moving truck. Oh my goodness, it was hilarious. So we had these guys that were working at the connect point, and we essentially gave them money for like lunch and coffee and stuff. We're like, this is the cash we have. You can go get lunch, whatever. And they were so grateful. It was really nice. Anyway, that was good. That's a fun memory. Sinks are expensive. Again, though, not everyone. I mean, just starting a boutique, starting a shop, beauty, salon, whatever it is, the equipment isn't too bad. You can always look at Craigslist, Kijiji. There's a lot of turnover in the salon industry, so I would say, you know what, check out and see if you can get something used that's been in good condition. A lot of times staff will want to just go on their own for a while, and they'll start their own location. It's not that they want to do it forever, because as you know, like we have in our industry, if you want to start a family, if you want to do anything like that, you can't really just go on maternity leave because your clientele, they need to be serviced while you're away. And it happens often where they just kind of go somewhere else and they stay there. So in this industry, in a beauty industry, in a service industry, you really are dependent on your clientele. So keep that in mind too. When you're deciding, you're investing in something, you're, kind of taking on a big project like this, how long are you going to be in it for? And that's going to determine how much you invest. For me, we weren't looking at being in this location that long, and we weren't looking at being in the environment that we're in that long. For us, it was more just get open, get started, and grow. I had plans for my own art, right? I wanted to really focus on product. I wanted to, by the time I was year 5 of my business, I wanted to be owning a property, and I wanted to have my full line developed. So I was hoping I'd have a team of seamstresses by now, all that kind of stuff. And that's one thing to consider too. If you're getting into a salon environment, it's a very needy, very draining industry. So make sure that you have an excellent manager on hand with a lot of experience. If you're not looking to manage, if you think you're going to be doing maybe your own thing or managing your own clientele, you need to have a really strong administrative team. So Equipment is more expensive. You get into dryers, you get into, most of the time locations will have their staff, their teams use their own tools. That's okay. I mean, if that's what you want to do, but then how do you regulate your tools? So you might want to invest in the tools that your staff are going to be using as well. At least that way you have control over what's being used and the maintenance and making sure things are clean. It gives you a little control over brushes, combs, all those sorts of things, makeup brushes, makeup inventory. The more that you take on, yes, it's more liability, but the trade-off is you get to monitor it and make sure that it's up to code, health code especially, and also up to standard and to your standard. Because if you want to run a successful business, a clean business is key. So equipment, I touched base. Now I can't remember because I was making little videos while I was trying to squeeze it in between clients today. I believe I started to touch on POS. Anyway, I'll go over it again. So POS, your point of sale system, how you're tracking your inventory, how you're tracking your sales, how are you accepting credit, debit, what are you using? So do your research and get competitive rates. Things can be more convenient. For example, my online boutique runs off of Square. I would love for it to run off of ShopKeep, but ShopKeep wants to control my e-commerce site. I don't like that so much. So, but Square is expensive. Where my merchant center that I use right now, graciously, my uncle arranged it so I have a really great family rate. He keeps it really low, so it's very competitive with Moneris, which is probably one of the more popular merchant services in Canada. So like RBC, for example, works directly with Moneris, so you can get good rates as a small business. When you have a small business account, you do your stuff through Moneris, you get free deposits, all that kind of stuff. So that matters. You want to look at what you're going to be accepting, what you're going to be doing. The cost is worth it because it's about, again, convenience and how you're servicing your client. So I had, oh crap, now I'm forgetting what I put in other videos for you, clips. I think I might have talked about your coffee bar, so your reception area, being comfortable, your, invest in good chairs, invest in comfort. Think when you're a client, what do you like when you go somewhere? When you go into a restaurant, don't you want a booth? You want a booth, right? So client behavior. Like if you just start paying attention, I say get in tune to who you are, be more self-aware. And when you start shopping and you're going places, start to be like, why do I like this? What do I like about it? What was special about it? Why is this better than this? And then see what that costs. There's a cost behind everything. There's a cost behind a paper cup versus a porcelain cup that has to get washed and has to, risks being broken and how many get broken and all that kind of stuff. So, pay attention to those things. Invest in good coffee equipment. It doesn't have to be super fancy, but it has to be something that's easy to use, easy to train on, quick, unless you have a barista full-time in your studio, like something that's quick. And then, weigh the cost of refilling it, weigh the cost of having to have milk on hand all the time. Look at all your equipment, everything that you're bringing in. If you have for the reception area, you have to have your computer or some type of screen that you're working on. And how much work do you want to be doing in the studio? Do you want to be doing research between clients? Do you want to be uploading, saving videos? Probably going to want a desktop computer. So, your screen, your monitor, probably $300-$400. Your desktop can be anywhere from $300 to $1,000 to $1,500, whatever it is you're going to spend. I would say, again, technology is really competitive right now and very affordable. So do your research on that. You might get something, don't get caught up on name brands. You might get something that functions really well, has great reviews, and it's just a few $100s. Your printer for your receipts. Make sure that the refill paper is something that you can get close to your shop. If for whatever reason someone forgets to update your project manager saying, hey, owner, manager, we need paper rolls for the printer, for the receipt printer. You could, if need be, run out to the store and get it. You don't want to be in a situation where it's so specialized that you have to always be placing orders. And if you do, just be aware that you have to be open to human error. Things happen. So I say, absolutely Check your prices of anything, like you might do your initial purchase, but you want to make sure that everything that you need in the future as you're using this equipment, that those refill options, be it coffee or be it paper, is affordable and can get to you quick. So make sure, you're not just budgeting for the initial purchase. Your scanner, your what the heck is it called? Your till, your cash register. Make sure that that is something that connects to your computer, and it's not faulty. Don't go too cheap on it. You should be looking at about $150 for one that hooks up, and when you cash out and you put in the password, you can set up all your preferences. It will open the till, and you can also set it so it doesn't open, maybe without a password. That way you can, who opened when, who closed when. You have to think about those things too as an owner. For your leasehold improvements, when you get into your place and you're deciding, okay, there's equipment I absolutely need, there's products I absolutely need to get started, there's things for my customers when they come in, there's seating, a coffee, comfortable, paper, business cards, things I want to print off, Vistaprint. You can do business cards for peanuts, like $10, $20 orders. A lot of creative things, and different companies that are making things very affordable for businesses. So you have all that. But now it's like, okay, I want to put money into my location. I want my location to be beautiful. Number one, it has to be functional. You have to have enough power where you need it. So like the coffee station, for example, you're going to need a lot of power there. You don't want to be short-circuiting every time you have the coffee machine on, but someone wants to boil water, or if you have a automated, like we have in our studio, we have an automated hot water boiler. So whenever it starts to get below a certain temperature, it reheats. So make sure you have enough power for those things. There's some things that are going to be non-negotiables, but you don't need to get super fancy. Not when you're first starting. Again, covet your cash flow statement. But you want to do things that are about cleanliness, and you want to do things that are the foundation, that you don't have to break something down, pull something out to redo it or to continue on. You want to make sure you get your basics down and you can just continue to build nice and clean. Like when the dirty construction's over, you don't need to go there again. You can just do the decorative, the fun stuff. So I say your flooring is non-negotiable, because your flooring has to be easy to clean, comfortable to walk on, not cold. If you have to be standing, which a lot of service industry, we stand, your employees should not be, aching at the end of the day because you chose some ridiculous flooring for aesthetic purposes. Think of your staff. I put in over a $10,000 floor. It actually was $10,000, but by the time it got installed and everything was done, because I was delayed, I didn't have time to install it myself, which I was planning to, with my dad, who was going to help me do 1,400 square foot flooring. Once we got it all finished and had the baseboards on, and we didn't even get all the footers done. It was an additional $2,500. So we had like almost a $13,000 floor by the end of it. But it was, at the time, it was a unique product, and it was shock absorbing, so it was more comfortable for people to be standing on, and that was very important to me. Having a staff room, having things that are comfortable so employees can have a full-size fridge, having focusing on your health, on your employees' health, on providing, budget-friendly options, like having a full-size fridge so they can bring not just their lunch that day, but even have healthy ingredients within the workplace. That's very important. Those types of things, again, to me, were non-negotiables. As soon as we get those things in, or once we realize, this would be a great idea. Sometimes too, it's not usual, like it's not typical for your industry, or it's not until you start to see like, this is a problem, let's fix it. That's when you have the opportunity to decide who you want to be and what type of employer you want to be. And I want to be someone that, provided basic things to our staff. Ceiling lights, is there enough lighting? Can you convert over to LEDs? That's worth it. If you can do that, that's worth it. The bathroom. Do you want to put a new toilet and a new sink in and maybe just give it a coat of paint, maybe a new floor? Usually they're not that big. Bathrooms are often like 30 square feet. They're not that big. And if they are like a wheelchair accessible bathroom, they're a little bit bigger, you're not talking that much more. Like, okay, maybe 60, maybe 80 square feet. You're not talking that much more. It's peanuts for flooring. Get a new floor in there, or at least clean up the baseboards, put a clean coat of paint. It should feel clean. Don't you judge a restaurant like or any location really. It reflects like the staff, it reflects everybody. Your bathroom's very important. So that's some money. Flooring you can get very inexpensive if you are planning to open a location. Start to get these things now. Go to clearance sales. You know, as long as you get like 100 square feet, you can also sell things off later on like Kijiji or Craigslist. If you have a few square feet, art, you know, people buy things like ceramics and stuff for projects. So it's better to have it, especially when you see a great deal. Or again, I did a video the other day. I had visited Restore. Perfect opportunity. Go and get your flooring. Think, you know, the bathroom. Bulk. If you already have your location, you know, just go get it all and get it in bulk and get enough for everything and just pay once and get it laid. So yeah, things that would affect the cleanliness, the aesthetics of the place, I would say absolutely update. If I had to do it again, would I go in and would I move a wall? No. I would not do anything that required permits. I would do basic tidy up, and maybe, okay, if it had to be something that was like a licensed professional, like electrical, that's different. And often your electrician can deal with the city independently because it's not usually, it's like we're putting in a new panel, we're updating. You're not doing anything where the city has to bring in an engineer, for example, or asks you to bring in an engineer. So I would keep it really simple. If I had to do it again, I would focus more on the furniture that I'm purchasing. I'd keep the money in my business, but I would absolutely make sure that we're comfortable, we can work all day, and it's clean. And those are easy quotes to get. I can't really give you a quote. I can tell you what my flooring was, but my studio was also 1,400 square feet. It was a quite large studio, especially for a first business. What else could you do? Things to consider. So yeah, equipment, leasehold improvements, lighting was really important. So it was worth upgrading the electrical panel. We had to do that. You can avoid paying for it yourself if you could get your landlord to perhaps pay for it and then pay over the term of your lease. That's going to help your cash flow. So even if your landlord says, okay, but it's going to be X amount of dollars, and maybe it's a bit higher than the quotes that you were looking at, just keep in mind it's better for your cash flow. So rather than being out $3,000-4,000 amongst all your other charges, it might be an extra, and you work it out, it might be an extra like $100 on your rent over the course of how many years. Yes, at the end, it's going to be much more expensive, but you aren't out and you can focus on your business and you have the money that you need today to focus on your business. So cash flow is different. In the long run, it might be more expensive, but you have the money to conduct your business. So if you haven't looked at my cash flow information or you have any questions about cash flow, please send that over to me, because I'm a huge advocate for managing and learning your cash flow and understanding your cash flow statements and running those reports every month at least. So yeah, starting a boutique, starting a shop, we often get really excited about the business cards and all the fun things we're going to get, but I recommend anything that has to do with like pretty or is aesthetic, try to be creative. Decide what's worth doing yourself and where is your time better spent, because time is money too. But get the essentials done first. Make sure that your place is clean and it's going to be a happy place to work, and then start to look at your budget and say, okay, what's left? And then use that for the aesthetics and use that for the pretty stuff. Because I can tell you right now, if you go and blow a ton of money on something aesthetic, just for the sake of it, it bothers your staff. They feel that you don't really value the business, or maybe even them. You value more aesthetic things. So I would say pay attention to comfort. Pay attention to the things that are going to make an impact every day on you and on your staff and on your clients. They need to be comfortable too. So I'm going to probably keep reviewing the business costs and what it truly costs to start and open a business, including like government fees, the difference in residential prices versus commercial prices. So when you have to hire a plumber or you have to hire an electrician, the price goes way up. Why does it happen? So we can review those kinds of things too. But I thought it was interesting. Especially as I'm packing up, I'm going to start to go over
you know, what things cost and remind myself of how expensive everything was. Like our stereo system. I apologize. I might have already mentioned this. Um, but like the stereo system, for example, there's creative ways that you can get good quality speakers, get stuff in there and run your music off things like Google Play or Spotify. But then consider the fact that you will have accounts, so you have to pay for every month. But that's the nature of today, right? It's different than when I opened my business, but that's what today is. And people love, you can, anyway. Google Play's awesome. That's what we use. And I can just like, every time a client talks about a song or says something, I'm like, oh, that's a great song. We add it to our playlist and we get so many compliments on our playlist that we laugh. We get so many compliments that when it happens again, we laugh. We're like, yeah, people say that all the time. We just have a very nostalgic type playlist and everyone can relate to a song. So it's fun, very eclectic. So that's it for today. It's gone on long enough. I wanted to touch base and review some just business stuff that's happened. So I look forward to tomorrow, day 5. Thanks everyone. Ciao.